If it's Wednesday, that means Super Speedway Fall Classic Racing from Slingshot Racing League. Welcome, race fans. I'm Ellis Thomas, joined in the booth tonight by Chris Smith. We're bringing you live racing action tonight in the next gen NASCARs from Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Peach 105. The 1.5-mile track Atlanta Motor Speedway opened in 1960, and according to some, most of the work on the $1.8 million project was done at a breakneck pace within weeks of opening day. On July 31st, 1960, 25,000 thirsty people turned out for the first race, the Dixie 300. Fireball Roberts won that first race, and many other household names like Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon have also visited Victory Lane. In 1997, the track was reconfigured to include a dogleg like SMI's other 1.5-mile tracks, and just last year, the track was reprofiled with more banking to produce more exciting races akin to Talladega or Daytona. Tonight's going to be high-speed, side-by-side, nail-biting action. Chris, fun fact for the evening. There's a spot just beyond the track where an old church cemetery sits in a grassy field. Its tombstone's a stoic counterpoint to the energy and intensity that lies inside Atlanta Motor Speedway. These cars and these drivers are hoping, that their cars don't end up in a graveyard at the end of the night. What are they going to have to do to avoid that fate? Let's talk about this track, how it drives, and what these drivers are going to expect tonight over the course of these 70 laps.
Well, you mentioned with the reconfiguration, this track is a lot more similar to Daytona and Talladega in the sense that there will be a lot of pack racing going on. But this is 1 mile shorter than those tracks. So everything just seems like it happens a lot quicker. This is not as easy to drive as Daytona and Talladega is. We will see packs. We will see a big pack out there probably. But it will not be as easy to make their way through the corners as it is at Daytona and Talladega. So the drivers are going to have their hands full. We might even see some tire wear late in a run. We got 70 laps tonight, with lap 35 being the stage mark. So points will be awarded then. And I'm going to be curious to see how these tires wear out. You might see a little bit more tire wear here than you see at places like Daytona and Talladega. And which line is going to prevail? Will we see cars migrate to the top as the run goes on? We'll have to wait and see.
And there's going to be a lot to follow, a lot of action coming your way here at Atlanta Motor Speedway and Slingshot Racing League. But before we get to that action, one of our fans' favorite pre-race traditions, the national anthem. Everyone, go ahead and please rise and remove your caps. We'll be back on the other end of the anthem. All right, we are back here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, getting ready for some next-gen action in race number 4 of the Super Speedway Fall Classic from Slingshot Racing League. Chris, We've got a lot of stories that we're going to be keeping an eye on. The first one of those stories is last week's finish. It was a photo finish, and we'll go ahead and show the replay of that as Zachary Lima got a helpful push from his teammate Steve Karosik to pull to the win, but it was an exciting photo finish.
3 wide coming to the line right here through turns 3 and 4. They're neck and neck. Some contact right there. Karosik's doing all he can to push Lima. Here they come, Patton and Lima. Who's going to get to the line first? Zachary Lima wins at Michigan.
And conspicuously, those drivers who finished first and third, the Dale Cup teammates, are missing from action tonight, taking the week off, maybe still celebrating that victory last week. It's going to leave the door open for several drivers as we watch them make their qualifying laps just with about 3 minutes left. But Chris, with these restrictor plate races, these 5 races, this is a kind of a select series we created to showcase Super Speedway racing talents like we've seen all 3 weeks. It creates some opportunities for amazing finishes. Last week was no exception. We opened up Daytona in the 87s with an amazing finish won by Edward Shearer Jr. Do we have that same possibility tonight here at Atlanta?
Absolutely. I wouldn't be shocked at all if we saw that. And, the little bit of practice that we got a chance to watch while we're getting ready tonight, that the action looks like it's very, very close, very fierce. So I wouldn't be surprised at all to see another really tight finish.
Tight finish, absolutely something we're going to be hoping for at the end of this race. And speaking of tight, the points race is tight right now. Less than 20 points separate the top 5. And it's anyone's guess, Chris, even tonight, after tonight, there's probably going to be a clear champion favorite, but it's only going to be by a few points. No drivers really got the opportunity to fully set themselves apart from the field. It's going to go down to the wire the week after Thanksgiving at Daytona in the truck. So tonight is important to set yourself up for being in a prime position to take home that championship ring in just a couple of weeks' time. We mentioned 2 races left in the season. Do you have a favorite right now who we're thinking it could take home this championship ring?
It's just so hard to pick one because of the unpredictability of a series like this, on Super Speedways. Justin Wilson has had a lot of good finishes and put himself in a really good position. But, hey, if he has 2 bad races, a bad race this week and a bad race in 2 weeks' time at Daytona for our closer, who knows? Who knows where the points might shake out?
You mentioned the unpredictability of this series. Speaking of unpredictable, the big one can happen at any point tonight. That's kind of a staple of any restrictor plate style racetrack. With these cars right on top of each other, bumping each other through the corners at high speeds, you're just one wrong move away from a wreck that could take out several drivers. We've seen a couple of those this season, including last week at Michigan. Is there a strategy that drivers can employ to avoid that, or are you just going full out for the next 70 laps?
I think that for a race like this, I guess it depends on where you qualify. But I think a track like this where you might be able to get a little bit of separation between the cars as the run goes on, I think that I would race pretty hard here. I think this might be the race that I would race hard. Maybe in 2 weeks' time at Daytona, you can ride a little bit more. But I definitely think for this one, you might want to, think about taking it easy.
Small field tonight, just about 16 drivers, but we've got several teammates in the field, and we've seen that play a role every single week here in the Super Speedway Fall Classic, including last week where the winner, Zachary Lima, got pushed to victory by his Dale Cup teammate, Steve Karosik. Going to be on the lookout for teamwork tonight. We've got several teammates, Justin Wilson along with Johnny Rapp. We've got Scotty Sobczak and Patrick Colby. Several other teams in the field that we're going to be keeping an eye on, Chris, before this night is out. Does teamwork matter at the end of the race in terms of, are there team orders, or are these drivers just are all bets off the table at the end of the race?
I don't think that there are team orders necessarily, but I think that a lot of these guys who are on teams with each other, they do work together, and I don't think they're going to hurt each other. I think that's probably the biggest thing they're after. If they got a chance to win, they're going to, they'll pass their teammate to win, but I don't think they're going to do anything that might jeopardize their teammate. We've seen the payday guys, Wilson and Rapp, be very committed to each other, but we've also seen Dale Cup, Karosik, and Lima. They were very committed to each other last weekend and worked well for them.
Absolutely. And hey, the number 58 car working really well, not only in qualifying, but also the championship standings. Justin Wilson is your point leader, up by 10 on Steve Karosik. He's also going to be starting from the pole tonight in that green or that purple and white number 58. That's Justin Wilson on the pole tonight at Atlanta Motor Speedway. On his outside, Chris is a driver who could use some good fortune tonight. 2 bad races in a row after a season opening win in Daytona. Edward Shearer Jr. looking to take that silver and black number 7 to victory lane tonight in Atlanta. Scotty Sobczak in that white number 81 starting 3rd. Kevin Winker, who has some good runs this season, starting in the 4th position on the outside of row 2. Patrick Colby, who is a Super Speedway Racing winner in Slingshot Racing League, is going to be starting 5th. Trevor Trago, who we've seen have some speed as well, looking to get to victory lane, will have to start from the 6th position if he's going to do so. Chris Blassie starting in the 7th position. Raymond Hanneman in that 85 starting 8th of the great qualifying run. Steve Spieth, Chris, the Talladega winner in the ARCA car, is going to be starting in the 9th position. Johnny Rapp in an interesting looking paint scheme with his face, and is that his body all adorned over the car? I'm a little disturbed by what I'm looking at, but Johnny going to be starting in the 10th position. Brad Patton is going to be starting in the 11th position in that number 1. He's got a great season going, Chris. He's 3rd in points and had a really good run last week. Jay Haishman had a good run last week until losing the draft, going to be starting in the 12th position. James Ledford going to be starting 13th, and then James Suggs going to be starting 14th. The James and James show going to be coming from the back of the pack tonight if they're going to pull off a win. Hey, we appreciate you if you're watching on YouTube or Twitch right now. If you're watching, let us know who you are rooting for. Who are you here to support tonight? Who do you think is going to win this race? Let us know by just typing a simple little message in the chat and hitting that like and subscribe button if you have not already done so. Leaders on the backstretch right now, pace car leading the way for this single pace lap. Going for 70 laps tonight, Chris. Drivers have about 30 laps of fuel in the tank, so they will likely, unless we get cautions, have to pit before that stage break or that stage point awarding lap of lap 35. So if you're a driver, what are you thinking right now as we get ready to go green?
I'm thinking I just want to stay out of trouble in this first lap, maybe see how things go, and that's going to decide my strategy here, if I'm going to race hard or if I'm going to take it easy here in these opening laps.
Absolutely. And Justin Wilson is not a driver we've seen it take it easy this season, especially very aggressive last week at Michigan. He and Edward Shearer Jr. are going to take control of the field as the pace car peels off. Drivers headed into the dogleg, into that Geico restart zone. Green flag is out. Shearer Jr. gets a jump on the field on the outside. Justin Wilson's going to get a hit from Scotty Sobczak. He's going to come down to the inside. Leaders are side by side, headed down into turn 1. Winker pushing the number 7 on the outside. Scotty Sobczak pushing Justin Wilson on the inside. Leaders work their way off of turn 2, down to the backstretch for the first time tonight. Shearer Jr. in that 7's got a head of steam on the outside. Into turn 3 they go. Justin Wilson looking to take back the lead after starting on the pole, is working his way on the inside off of turn 4. The 7's going to lead this lap, lap number 1 in the books here for Slingshot Racing League and the Super Speedway Fall Classic. Little bit of contact there. I think that might have been the 85 of Hanneman, who's in about 6th place, 7th place right now.
Yeah, that's easy to do right there in the dogleg. You know, we talk about the differences between this track and Daytona Talladega, and that front stretch is a big difference. It really narrows up right there, and the drivers will have a hard time navigating it.
New leader to the point, Trevor Trago, after starting all the way back in 6th position, within 2 laps, has worked his way up to the lead, headed down into turn 1. He's that black and blue car on the inside. Edward Shearer Jr. in the 7 on the outside. Raymond Hanneman also up a good bit of spots on the inside in 3rd, with Kevin Winker in that 42 on the outside. Wilson, the pole sitter, slipped back all the way to 6th position in the first couple of laps, so maybe looking to take it easy and kind of just feel this race out right now. They're going to cross the line side by side. Not sure who led that lap. It looks like it's going to be credited to Trago, who's got a good push from the 85 of Raymond Hanneman right now. He's going to move into 2nd, but he's surely going to knock the 37 out of the way. A little bit of contact there. He's going to give that position up, though. He just has no momentum on the inside. All the help right now is on the outside, Chris.
It is. I think that we might see the outside line turn into the dominant line here. You know, in iRacing and the official races that we've seen here at this track with this car, the top can turn into the dominant line really easily. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that as this tire cycle continues.
What I'm noticing is several drivers kind of looking, ducking out to the inside to try to get runs, and it works for maybe half of a corner. And then you saw the number one of Brad Patton tried it right there on the inside, and that purple and white car had gone all the way up to fourth and then lost about 4 or 5 positions by making that move. So drivers going to have to be careful very early on and learn some lessons. Oh, Justin Wilson, the points leader in the wall into turn 1 there, Chris.
Yeah, it's really, really tricky. And, you know, you mentioned help, or you mentioned, you know, pulling out, try to make a run. You cannot do it in these cars without help. This car has one of the more, I think it's one of the more realistic draft models compared to a lot of the other vehicles on iRacing. You know, you have to have help if you pull out to make a pass. And, you know, the runs that you can generate if you do have help are really huge. So we'll be watching to see if maybe some teammates can get linked up and maybe push each other, you know, to the inside and create that bottom lane.
Absolutely. Right now, it's all on the outside. Edward Shearer Jr. getting a big push from Kevin Winker into turn 3 and 4. Trevor Trago still on the point in that number 37. This is the most we've seen him lead all season long. He's led the last few laps, but Edward Shearer Jr. going to have something to say about that. He's gotten shuffled out to the inside. We've deemed that to be no man's land, at least early on in these runs. Let's see if Shearer kind of breaks the cycle and is able to pick up or at least hold on to a spot. But right now, Johnny Rapp loose off of turn 2 might be Shearer Jr.'s saving grace. It's not going to work out that way. Shearer Jr. slides back a couple more positions. He's got Chris Blassie and Raymond Hanneman behind him, but he's got Patrick Colby to his outside, Chris. He's got a little bit of help on the inside, so I'm curious if this makes a difference, but all of these drivers on the inside right now struggling a little bit through the dog leg.
Yeah, it's a lot of moving around, a lot of shaking around, and yeah, it's just a real big trouble spot, and you know, you're blind for a lot of this. As we got a 3-wide situation right here. Patrick Colby looking to the middle on Johnny Rapp.
Oh, Johnny Rapp touches the wall just a little bit, head into turns 4, onto the front stretch they go, still 3 wide. Patrick Colby in the middle. Now Johnny Rapp's going to get the better end of that battle, but suddenly the number 1 of Brad Patton is going to jump to the outside. He's also going to grab a position in that white and black number 1 car. Drivers headed down onto the backstretch right now. Lap 10 of 70 in the books here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Trevor Trago is your leader, but Justin Wilson's going to take the inside. He's got help from his Payday Racing teammate. He goes to the point here as they cross the line for lap number 10. Looks like the 42 of Kevin Winker also going to try to jump to the inside. Chris, the 58 made the move on the inside. He had the help from the 52, and he's able to clear the 37. That is kind of the best we've seen this done all race long, just 11 laps in. That's kind of how you do it. It felt like a textbook pass there.
Yeah, that's how you have to do it. You've got to have help. And we see the run that the 42 of Winker's got with help from Edward Shearer Jr., and you see how it, you know, pushes them up right there. It seems like you have, when you have the run and you know that you have help and both of you are clear, you've got to take that. Oh, as Winker almost gets turned.
Gets really loose with a push from Edward Shearer Jr. in that number 7.
Man, that was close, and we see how close they are right here. Shearer all over the back bumper of... he's gonna pass him.
Yeah, he's going to duck down to the inside in turn 3. He's going to have enough of riding behind the 42 of Kevin Winker, but Winker's got to run on the outside as soon as we say that, and Winker's going to find himself in the middle. Looks like Shearer Jr. is going to think better of taking it 3 wide down into 1. Brad Patton is going to be the biggest benefactor. Raymond Hanneman in the wall right there for just a moment in turn number 1. Leaders cycle on to the backstretch. Justin Wilson is at the point. Johnny Rapp, his Payday Racing teammate, is second, but Trevor Trago and Brad Patton going to jump out to the inside. They're going to try to replicate that move made by the Payday Racing teammates just a couple of laps ago. I don't think they're going to be able to pull it off, Chris.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough, and we might get into a deadlock situation here where, you know, both lines move pretty good, or, you know, will Trago clear and maybe move up? or is he going to stick to the bottom and keep on trying to give that draft to Patton?
Oh, boy, Brad Patton thought he was clear for just a moment and tested the waters and found out real quick that number 58 machine was right there. Wilson's going to channel that energy into the inside line, but we've got a 3-wide battle for third place. Brad Patton is in the middle of a Johnny Rapp and Raymond Hanneman sandwich as they cross the line on lap number 14. Trago takes the inside to try to go to the point once more. Trago to the lead. Brad Patton is going to follow him through to second. The number 37 and 1 are now first and second. Johnny Rapp and Justin Wilson third and fourth. Battles 2 wide behind them. Patrick Colby and Raymond Hanneman, Kevin Winker and Chris Blassie 4 wide, not 4 wide, but 2 wide, 2 rows deep there.
This honestly looks like a lot of fun. This is just a great combination. Kind of wish I was out there right now. It looks so much fun.
I know. I'm getting a little itch to be out there right now, but you know what? Seeing how anxious these drivers probably are, I'm not sure if I would want to be out there. Only 16 laps into this race, about 55 left, and it's anyone's guess what is going to happen right now. Leaders go into turn number 3. Trago is on the point in the lead. Justin Wilson on the inside gets a bump from Johnny Rapp, who's got a bump from Patrick Colby back there as well. We had a near incident here on lap number 16 crossing the line, but as soon as we say that, they get it back together. 2 by 2 by 2. The top 6 are Trago, Patton, Wilson, Winker, Rapp, and Shearer Jr. comes back into the picture on the outside. Chris, we are about 13 laps away from what will likely be a pit stop. Driver's going to be about halfway through their tanks at this point. Does anyone try to make it to lap 35 to get those stage points?
They might, especially maybe some of these guys who are just riding in the back. I'm looking at Scotty Sobczak back here, Jay Haishman as well. Can those guys maybe, go to the end? Can they go to this stage mark and maybe try to get some points there? Maybe they're back there just riding half throttle and saving.
Oh, looks like the 42 of Winker. We've seen it happen all night long. Gets in the wall just a little bit. Trevor Trago's got a back bumper full of Justin Wilson. Johnny Rapp's going to be a victim of that. He's going to drop back on the apron. He crosses that red line, and he's going to have to give up any spots he's gained, but I think he's got bigger problems right now by losing all of that momentum. Chris, we brought up the red line. The rule tonight is you cannot get any tires below that red line and advance a position. If you do, you got to give that position back. We haven't seen any drivers do that tonight. Johnny Rapp has had his own set of issues there. Trevor Trago's still your leader. He has got a back bumper full, a rear view mirror full of Justin Wilson and that llama on the front of Justin Wilson's car. Not an image I would want to have staring at me in my rear view mirror here at Atlanta. With the high speeds that we've seen tonight. Brad Patton is on the outside. He's got a big push from Kevin Winker. I've seen those two cars working together a lot. The number 1, the 42, as well as the 37 has shown a lot of cooperation tonight. Chris Blassie, entering the top 5 for the first time on the inside in that number 15 car. Chris is a pretty proven super speedway racer. We almost saw him win the Apex Energy Cup Series race at Talladega about a year ago.
Yeah, he almost did, and he is a top 3 finisher from Talladega earlier this season in the ARCA cars. So, yeah, he definitely can get it done on these super speedways.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing out here. We were not surprised when he signed up for the Super Speedway Fall Classic Series. All of these drivers, Chris, have a chance to win, and several drivers still have a chance at that championship ring for this short 5-race series. Brad Patton goes to the point. Leaders head down into turn 1. Lap 22 of 70 that we're on right now as leaders wind their way onto the backstretch. I don't think we've had more than a car length between each of these cars over the course of the night race. This is the closest racing. I feel like I think it feels like it's a little bit more intense than it was in Michigan because the cars are going a lot faster here. But these guys seem like they are all over each other, and it's a miracle we've made it 22 laps without a caution. Drivers showcasing their skill tonight here on the high banks of Atlanta Motor Speedway for Slingshot Racing League. Looking back through the field, a couple of guys I'm keeping my eye on. Jay Haishman in that 06 is riding back in the 10th position. We saw him have a really strong run going on at Michigan in the street stock cars until he lost the draft. He led several laps looking to get back on track tonight in that 06. Just kind of biding his time, I would imagine, in that number 06, that kind of purple and black scheme that Jay has kind of made iconic in Slingshot Racing League right now. But doing a good job back there in 10th, just kind of keeping his nose clean and waiting maybe for the second half of this race.
Yeah, there's no sense in pushing it right now, and yeah, he's just taking it easy, biding his time, and you mentioned it, the intensity. It does feel really intense, and I think that you hit on it. They're going a lot faster here than they were at Michigan. And the runs are just so great. Like, when you get a run, you see Kevin Winker got a run on Brad Patton, went down to the inside, and that's how you got to do it on corner entry like that. I think that, seeing guys run down the hill on corner entry, we saw Justin Wilson do it earlier to take the lead. I think that if you're on the top, that is the best way to complete a pass on the inside. As it gets
3
tight
wide
here.
now for second place. Wilson on the bottom, Winker in the middle, Brad Patton on the outside. Are they going to try to take this down into turn 1? Will any driver lift? No. 3 wide for second place. Looks like Patton might lose a bit of an edge, but he's going to gain momentum off the corner. They're going to take that 3 wide battle down the backstretch into turn 3, Chris. And right now, Hanneman's giving a big old push to the number 42, who looks like he might have grazed the right side of Justin Wilson's car. They're still side by side, headed down onto the front straightaway, on board right now, I believe, and that number 1 of Brad Patton that we're watching. And or is that Hanneman we're on board with right now?
Yeah, that's Raymond Hanneman. Yep. And he had he was right in the middle of the Hornets test right there.
And just on board, we'll just ride on board with this shot for a lap or so just to see how intense some of this racing is, and you kind of get a sense of the speed that these drivers are kind of encountering tonight in these cars as we watch Hanneman go through a couple of corners here and that number 85. Great battle going on here as the drivers head down into turns 3 and 4 on the front straightaway. Lap 28 of 70. We're going to be getting close to the fuel window here for several drivers, and we are still green, which is going to present an interesting situation with drivers having to get onto pit road for green flag pit stop. Chris, these cars are not easy to get onto pit road, especially at Atlanta Motor Speedway. High speeds coming off of turn 4 are going to present maybe a bit of a calamitous situation for several drivers. So guys going to have to be careful here, starting thinking about getting down to the inside if they're going to be making their pit stops pretty soon.
Yeah, and the braking in these cars is just, I don't know of any other way to describe it. It's very, very different than the typical stock car braking that they're used to, and maybe the other stock cars they typically run. So hopefully these guys got a chance to do a little bit of practice with that, as Trago gets way up the hill right there, but he's going to keep on trucking.
Yeah, Trago going to be down to the backstretch. He looks like he definitely got a little bit loose there. Going to lose about 5 or 6 positions. That's the deal with Super Speedway Racing. You get out of the gas, you're going to give up momentum, and you are going to go back. But just as easily can drivers go forward by staying in that draft. And it looks like he's still got a bit of a bead on the number 1 of Brad Patton sitting there back in the 5th position. You can see how quickly Trago is going to close up to the back bumper of that number 1. Chris, right now I'm kind of seeing 2 different strategies kind of play out over the course of this race. I'm seeing this front pack. This first probably 6 positions have been really racy the past 10-15 laps. And here we go. Green flag pit stops underway. Brad Patton brings down Trevor Trago. The first leaders are down on pit road on lap number 31. Coming to the attention of their crews. We're going to see how quickly they can get off pit road. Right now, the battle for the lead is single file. Kevin Winker is the lead. Justin Wilson is second. Chris Blassie third. Raymond Hanneman fourth. But it's all about Trago and Patton having a clean entry and exit from pit road. No penalties, no spins. Keep the car in one piece and keep on trucking for the second half of this race or so. I do have a bit of concerns as we watch several other drivers come down pit road. Pretty much the rest of the field, all but just a couple of cars are going to hit pit road this time by. Justin Wilson is going to come along with the number 28 of Steve Spiess. Kevin Winker in the 42. About 7 or 8 cars making their way down pit road here on lap number 33. Almost to the halfway point of the Peach 105 here. Race number 4, the Super Speedway Fall Classic. Watching Patrick Colby lead the rest of the field. They're going to stay out a couple more laps, Chris, and this is what I'm asking about. Maybe you might have some insight. We're looking at, these drivers right now, I feel like, are trying to make it a single pit stop race. Do you think the guys who came in, surely they can make it on just this single stop? Or you think they're banking on maybe there being a caution?
I think that, I don't know. It's hard to say. I think that.
Almost a collision. Oh, sure. Loose on pit road. Patrick Colby, I believe.
He missed it.
Missed pit road. He's going to have to gear it back up on the front straightaway. He does not make it. I believe Shearer Jr. is going to make it, but he's going to lose several seconds on a really sloppy entry to pit road. Really loose there, but great job hanging on.
He's out of fuel. The 7's
out
of fuel.
Number 7.
I think the 9 is as well.
Fuel.
Or maybe not, but can Patrick Colby make it back around? As Scotty Sobczak is going to pit this time, and is he going to take the stage win on pit road maybe?
It looks like it. I'm watching Jay Heishman. Patrick Colby looking for that pack coming by. It is going to be Scotty Sobczak, I believe, who's going to take it there. Scotty Sobczak is going to take those stage points. Jay Heishman second. Patrick Colby third. Brad Patton, I believe Patrick Colby, by the way he was coasting around, Chris, I can't help but believe he is out of fuel in that number 9 car. So,
and this is the battle right here from 4th on back for points.
Yeah, Brad Patton is leading in 4th position. Trevor Trago 5th. Kevin Winker 6th. Justin Wilson 7th. Steve Spiess is looking like he's going to finish 8th there. My timing is updating. I'm showing Steve Spiess actually is a lap down. I'm not sure what happened to Steve.
He lost the draft earlier, so.
Okay. And that shows you how important this draft is. 3 wide action here. Winker in the middle of Patton and Trago. Really aggressive fighting here halfway through lap 36 of 70 here in the books at Atlanta Motor Speedway for Slingshot Racing League in the Super Speedway Fall Classic. Down the front stretch into turn 1. This battle is still 3 wide. This is a battle now, Chris, for second place as Kevin Winker assumes the lead as we complete that pit stop cycle. I'm really curious to kind of see how everything falls out here because right now we've got a lead pack of about 4 cars. Trevor Trago kind of the last car in this pack of 4 as we watch Justin Wilson making a move for the lead. And part of the reason, Chris, we've seen so much aggression tonight is leading laps gets points. That each lap you lead, you accrue a championship point. So every lap matters. We designed it that way to incentivize kind of hard racing, getting your way up to the front and trying to stay there as much and as often as possible. And you can see these drivers trying to go for every single point available as it could potentially propel them to a championship. Right now, really loose on the front straightaway. Kevin Winker, Brad Patton, Justin Wilson. You couldn't slide a piece of paper between those bumpers of the top 3 right now, Chris, as they head down into turn 2 and on to the backstretch.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really, really tight up here at the front, and I'm trying to watch this pack back behind them to see if Raymond Hanneman can pull that group of 3 up into the battle.
And Chris, one thing I am noticing in the chat, Rye Jones says lights don't work at Atlanta, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, they do not work at this track.
It's going to be a sunset finish. If we go green, we should be good to make it. But this is a race against the lights here as the sun continues to set. The drivers still have visibility as they head down into turns 3 and 4. Kevin Winker is atop the leaderboard. Brad Patton second. Justin Wilson third. Trevor Trago 4th. The 5th car in that picture is Steve Spiess. He is a lap down. He's a Talladega winner, but he lost the draft.
Justin Wilson
earlier.
Almost into the wall.
Very close contact. We've seen that a couple of times, particularly in turns 1 and 2. I've noticed it being the biggest problem spot. About 29 laps left here, Chris. I'm looking. Chris Blassie, actually Raymond Hanneman is in the 5th position. He's about 5 seconds back. So unless these cars can get organized or there's a caution, right now it's looking like it's going to be a battle between the top 4 for the win as the laps click away. These laps go very quickly And hey, just an update on the chat. We appreciate everyone tuning in, watching their favorite driver. Just reading through the list right now. Rye Jones is watching, even though we booted him from the practice session. We appreciate him sticking around. We've got Justin, who's rooting for Kevin Winker. We've got X-Zone Fire Red rooting for Raymond Hanneman. Tower Operator is a Kevin Winker fan. Several Kevin Winker fans out here. Brandon Noah, he has brought a whole crew with him, and he is making them proud right now. On the point, the driver, the number 42, leading the way. Kevin Winker is your leader. 43 laps here in the books, and these drivers are going at it every single lap down the backstretch. They catch Patrick Colby, who we believe ran out of gas just a couple of laps ago as he came to pit road, missed it the first time. Continuing to lose ground there. He is going to go now his second lap down. He's going to be definitely kicking himself, Chris, in that number 9 body armor car.
Yeah, absolutely. And while we got a little bit of a single file action right here, I think this might be a good time to hear from some of our sponsors. Don't you think, Ellis?
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and hear from some of our partners. All right, we are back at Atlanta, and an interesting development right now. We are not going to make sundown. With 23 laps remaining in the scheduled distance, the race director has decided to call the race at lap 53. So right now, the drivers will take the white flag on the beginning of lap 53 and race to the checkered flag at the completion of lap 53. So just about 6 laps left in this race. We'll keep you updated as the sun continues to set here in Atlanta. Brad Patton is scored as your leader. Trevor Trago is scored second. Kevin Winker third. Chris Blassie fourth. Right now it is a 3-car battle, Chris. Trevor Trago, Kevin Winker, and Brad Patton all going to be going amongst themselves here. It looks like it's going to be a 3-car shootout. Our drivers, is right now the daylight affecting drivers' visibility, or are they just going for it at this point? Right, so remember, we are running to the end of lap 53. Drivers will come to lap 53. They will take the white flag on lap 53, and we will crown a winner at the end of lap 53. Brad Patton is your leader. Trevor Trago second. Kevin Winker third. That is the battle we are keeping an eye on right now. That Patrick Colby, number 9, is in the middle of that action. Kevin Winker kind of the 4th car in line there, drifting back a little bit. I think he's going to be content, at least for a lap, to kind of let this situation develop just a little bit. Brad Patton is your current leader. Trago second. Keeping an eye on Trago. When do you want to make your move, Chris, if you are in second place?
I think I maybe want to wait until the last lap. As long as they stay like this, I'd be fine with waiting to the last lap and maybe making that inside move that we've seen others make on entry to maybe turn 3 and slide up, possibly. But the side draft in these cars is very, very strong compared to others. So, yeah, we'll just have to see how it plays out as we're coming to just 2 laps to go here.
2 laps to go. 2 laps to go here from Atlanta. Drivers cross the line to start lap number 52. White flag is going to be out next time. Brad Patton is your leader. Trevor Trago second. We see Kevin Winker in the 42 finally making his move. He's got Steve Speece behind him. He's going to jump to the inside of Trago down the backstretch. They go. Brad Patton is still on the point. He's got Trevor Trago behind him. Kevin Winker in third, seeing if he can get underneath the driver, the number 37, Trevor Trago. They come off of turn number 4, coming to the white flag, this time by in Atlanta. 1 lap left. Brad Patton is your leader. He's on the outside. Trago also on the outside. He's going to give Brad Patton a push down to the inside to no avail. Patton makes the block like a master here. Down the backstretch, 1 lap to go. Half a lap now. Trevor Trago looking to see where he's going to be able to make that move. Brad Patton looking in his rear view mirror to figure out how he's going to block it. Here comes Kevin Winker on the inside. He's got to run. Is he going to challenge Brad Patton for the win? Patton's going to win it at the line in Atlanta. As the sun sets, the number 1 is going to win the race here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Race number 4 in the books, Chris. Wow. That was an exciting finish, albeit a little bit earlier than we would have liked. Brad Patton is going to take home his first Slingshot Racing League victory in great style there under the lights. Man.
That was awesome. That was a great finish. And yeah, it's a little bit under some, difficult circumstances, but obviously with the darkness here. But congratulations to Brad Patton picking up the win right there. He was the leader at the end of lap 53, and that was the amended distance.
I believe so. Our top 3 are Patton, Winker, and Trago.
Yep. I think that Trevor Trago was second at the line, and Kevin Winker was third.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and see if we can grab these drivers and bring them into the Slingshot broadcast booth. Let's see if we can find Trevor Trago and drag him up here. Not seeing Trevor, so we're going to go ahead and try to pull in Brad Patton. Give me just 1 second to get these drivers in here. Might have to do a little bit of fill for a second as we call them up to the booth.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and take a moment right now to hear from one of our sponsors while we wait.
How do we get these one-of-a-kind amazing trophies? Well, we were fortunate to find UD Awards when we started our league. We reached out and we connected with Christopher, and we got started designing these one-of-a-kind works of art. The process was easy from start to finish. After just a few revisions, we finalized each one of them, and the team at UD got to work building each trophy from scratch. They're a small team, but they've got the ability to do just about anything your brain can imagine. And don't worry, if you're not an artist, they've got an entire catalog of unique trophies in pretty much any material you can imagine. Wood, acrylic, glass, and in the case of last season's trophy, metal. The best part, they're affordable. If you're looking for a trophy for your event or league, the choice is simple. UD Awards can give you exactly what you want.
In the Slingshot broadcast booth, this is Chris and Ellis. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Awesome, man. So we were just talking during the break. Congratulations on that third place finish. We know the strategy changed just a little bit there as we had to make an audible call to end this race just about 15 laps early as the sun set. Man, it looked like it was intense racing pretty much all night long. Talk to us a little bit about your experience just going through those first 53 laps and how intense the energy was throughout the field.
Well, I actually don't really run much next year. I think this is only about third or fourth race I've ran, so I was trying to learn them on the fly. And Yeah, it was tight battle up front, but everybody kept it clean. I was trying to get stage points. I had a bad league last week, so I'm trying to catch Justin up there in points, and then I think I got third or fourth in the stage. I was some laps. He unfortunately lost internet or something, so sucks for him. But I mean, overall, great night. P3, so can't be too upset with that.
Yeah, definitely a great night. We noticed I was noticing at the end of the race, you're running behind that 9. Do you think you waited a little bit too late to go ahead and make that move into third and into second, or do you feel pretty good about kind of do you have any second guessing going on right now?
I mean, not really, because the nine, and whoever the other lap car didn't really seem to want to get in the battle between us top three, and then I think it was Trevor was a second. He kind of was content right behind Brad, so I had to try something. Didn't work obviously, but I mean we kept it clean, so I had to try something. I knew at worst I could get third, so I had to at least go for it and see. But just Trevor didn't want to wait till the last, or he wanted to wait till the last turn just because the runs in these cars are so crazy. Just kind of want to wait till the last minute. And I knew I couldn't, so I had to try it a little bit earlier than that.
Hey, man. Well, we're excited to talk to you for the first time. We're happy that you got a third place finish. I know that's going to definitely do probably some wonders for you in points, kind of moving you up a little bit. Before we let you go celebrate, you got any shout outs you want to give before you go?
Oh yeah, I was thinking of a shout out to my sponsor, Bruce Muehlberger Custom Homes. I don't have a paint for the next gens, can't run them, so sorry about that. But huge shout out to him. He's always watching all my leagues, so can't thank him enough. Second, all Winker Nation. My girlfriend Shauna, Brett, Nicole, Brandon, Justin, Dylan, all them guys every night come up watch. And then you guys for broadcast, put on the league. We appreciate it.
Hey, man, anytime. We appreciate you bringing your fan club to the race. A lot of them showed up in the chat. That was awesome to hear from them. So, Kevin Winker, good job on that third place finish, and enjoy the rest of your evening, sir.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, we're going to bring in Trevor Trago, our second place finisher, and Chris, I'll let you take it away. Chris,
Trevor
you got a copy?
Trago, this is the Slingshot booth. You got a copy, bud?
Yes, I do.
Trevor, man, congratulations. Great second place run there. It was looking like you had a shot there on the last lap. You tried to make some things happen a couple times. Talk us through that last lap maybe and what your mentality was coming to the checkered flag there.
I mean, working with Brad as my teammate, it was kind of just trying to control the race there. Like during that long first run, we split up both lanes, lead both. That way, one of us is getting the bonus point for leading the lap. So we wanted to make sure that if I did make a move, it didn't screw both of us out of a win, or lose the clean race bonus either. So I made a move going outside, knowing that if Kevin went with me, then Kevin still probably gets third, and if he goes with Brad, he still probably gets third. I just have to beat him to the line. So I wanted to make sure that if I did make a move, I didn't, end up messing up Brad, because I know he's trying to run for points and everything as well.
Well, you did. You guys did a nice job controlling the race. That's a very interesting strategy, and seems like you guys worked it really, really well. Talk to us about the intensity tonight. Did it feel as intense behind the wheel as it looked from overhead? It seemed like the runs were really, really insane.
Oh yeah, dude, it was a blast. It wasn't as stressful as it seemed, but I mean, the pressure was there, especially running with Justin. It was unfortunate that he dropped there, but we had a couple guys on our crew spotting for us, and they were calling out where runs were and what lane to go to keep us up front, because we both needed a good point tonight, and we got exactly what we were looking for with this one.
Yeah, absolutely did. It's a great run for you tonight. You got a lot of points here. Hey, any shout-outs that you want to give before we let you go?
Yeah, I want to shout out Carson and Scott for helping spot and do the strategy, and then also our sponsors, Freshen Up Hydration, Wanted Goons, FPS Heaven, and McConey Setup Shop.
All right, that's Trevor Trago, our second place finisher tonight. Hey, Trevor, go celebrate this great finish, bud.
All right, will do. Thank you.
All right, going to bring in the winner, Brad Patton, into the broadcast booth right now. Brad Patton, it's Ellis and Chris in the Slingshot booth. You got a copy?
I've got a copy.
Hey, man, it didn't go the way we expected, but it worked out in your favor. sunset, and you set off. I guess you set a record pace there at the end of the race. The intensity picked up, and you were able to walk away with a win. You're able to hold off a couple of charging drivers. First of all, congratulations on that first win. That's a great looking paint scheme, by the way, I might add. Been thinking of that all night as we watched. Talk us through a little bit of what you were feeling energy-wise throughout the field over the course of the evening, because we felt like the intensity never really let off.
Yeah, throughout the race there, I was working with my teammate Trevor, and I kept telling him high side is the place to be. I mean, that's where all the momentum would be coming out of the corners. You'd be able to get runs on people. You could push into the corner, not really have a problem as long as you weren't sitting on the left rear of the car. The race was a fun race. I mean, those last 5-6 laps, that was kind of nerve-wracking. I'm not going to lie. Couldn't see the wall, so I didn't know if how close I was. So I kept telling Trevor, I was like, I don't know how close I am, but you're going to have to let me know if I hit the damn wall. And yeah, we pulled out some good strategy there. We had to pit a lap earlier than I expected, with us being out in the front for most of the race. Yeah, I'm glad we finally got a win. Finally, we got the 1-2 finish that, is deserving of us, because we've had good strategy. It just hasn't worked out in our favor for this season so far.
Yeah, man, tonight it worked out in your favor. And I swear, I think we saw more drivers hit the wall earlier in the race when the sun was fully up than we did late in the race. So great job, eyes up driving by all of you guys. And man, another thrilling finish. Were you worried about those drivers behind you coming to the line? We saw a little bit of contact there at the end, but you guys all made it. What are you kind of thinking with watching those drivers come up on your rear view mirror, that final kind of like into turn 3 and 4?
The last 2 laps, I couldn't see him behind me. Trevor's got a black car, so that didn't help. And then Patrick's car was like a dark blue or red, I think, and it looked black in my mirror. So I didn't know where they were. And I just was like, all right, well, somebody's going to have a run on the bottom here. I got to protect. And sure enough, I got a little squirrely there because I got tapped, and I didn't know where they were. I was just trying to protect the position. But yeah, the paint scheme, I got it off the SimWrap Markets there. And I did that myself. I've had it for a while. I usually do our paints. Me and got to give a shout out to my buddy Carson. He helps us out over at Wannagoons, and he does some paint schemes for us too. So he painted Trevor's car. I painted my car. Look out for next year though, because next year we will have a completely new design, and we'll say it's going to be Miami-esque.
Oh, nice. It's a good looking one, and I can't imagine it getting any better. So. First, just congratulations. Great win tonight. Great show you put on, led several laps. And, man, I think this might put you close to the points lead, if not right behind. So it's going to be an interesting race headed into Daytona in those trucks. How nervous are you about that? What do you feel like your chances are going into Daytona in a couple of weeks?
I'm feeling really good about Daytona. I love the trucks. It's like the stomping grounds for what I used to race. That's all I used to race was C-Fix all day, especially at the plate tracks. Used to do like 30, 40 a week, and time now doesn't let me do that, but it should be a fun race. I think there's going to be a little bit of mixing going on. Me and Justin and Steve are having a hell of a battle. Kevin's up there with us too. I think there's 5 of us separated within 20 points of each other. And then after today, I mean, I feel bad for Justin because his internet went out. I don't know what it's going to do for the point standings wise, but for to win the stage and then win the race, I think it's going to be pretty close for leading. Which I want to put Wannagoons and McConey setup shop, freshen up hydration. Got to thank the boys, for spotting and being there, and thank you guys for doing the broadcasting here. Hopefully we put on a hell of a show next week and somebody comes home with a ring.
Hey, man, it's going to be awesome. And you know what the good news about Daytona in a couple weeks is? There are lights on that track. So
thank goodness.
we will not have the sun set on us in Daytona, at least in a way that impacts the race, man. Congratulations. And, yeah, we couldn't be more thrilled to see you in Victory Lane. Go out there and celebrate with the rest of your Wanted Goons team. Brad Patton, winner tonight at Atlanta.
Appreciate it, guys. Have a good one.
You too. All right, Chris. So we mentioned kind of the storyline changed as the race went on. A mistake we made, and generally just to explain to the viewers, when we set up races, it does give a warning message if the lights are not functioning or non-existent at a track. And I'm pretty sure we did not have that warning message. So usually it's pretty clear up at the top of the screen, but it certainly changed the landscape of the race. It cut it about 15 laps early. And yeah, I do think it maybe changed the strategy a little bit, but I'll be honest, if you had, I think it would have changed pit strategy a little bit, but it came down to a battle between 3 cars. And unless there was a caution at the end of the race, I don't think we would have seen much different. Being fully honest, the separation in the pack, I think, had a lot to do with just when drivers got onto pit road, some maybe mistakes we saw on pit road. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's unfortunate that this happened, but, it's one of those mistakes, live and learn, and hopefully, try to avoid it next time. I don't know if it influenced the winner. It's just hard to look back and say. It's hard to look back in hindsight to say, if things were affected. But, we tried to give everybody, enough warning. Our race controller, Josh Ward, did a great job working in, the very difficult circumstances that he had to work with tonight, and try to give everybody enough warning to know that, that the end of the race was going to be a little bit sooner than the advertised distance. Hey, this is just, this is something that happens in real life. Real life.
Yeah, it happened at racing. Chicago earlier this season. If you remember that, they had to cut a race short due to daylight and some other factors as well. So, and it was a good race. I don't think we could have asked for better other than maybe going the full distance, but got 53 laps in here tonight at Atlanta. Great finish. We had Brad Patton bring home his first victory of the season. I'm pretty sure it's going to propel him in the points league. We mentioned it going into Daytona. We're taking the week off for Thanksgiving next week, but 2 weeks from tonight, we're headed to Daytona in the trucks, and we're going to have at least a 4 or 5 car battle for the championship headed into that race, and it's anyone's guess who's going to walk away. And Chris, we're probably not going to know until the final lap which driver is going to be crowned champion of the Super Speedway Fall Classic and get that custom ring you see there on the top right of the screen. 60 laps at Daytona, so a bit of a longer race than we saw at Daytona and Talladega earlier on in the season, but it is going to be a wild one, and I cannot wait. So any departing words of wisdom before we shut down the broadcast for the evening?
Just that, I'm really, really excited for that final race. Looking forward to seeing how everything transpires there. We got some interesting stories headed in. Brad Patton picking up the win here, possibly vaulting himself into the points lead. We'll have to see how all that shakes out. But it's made for some interesting stories headed into that final weekend.
Absolutely, and we are going to be in Daytona 2 weeks from tonight. Next week, we'll be live, on Tuesday evening for race number 12 of the Apex Energy season at Indianapolis as the drivers in the B-Class Xfinity cars take on the Yard of Bricks. And we've also got the Dash for Cash race where the top 6 finishers from last night at Las Vegas will be vying for a $50 cash prize potentially at the end of that race. So tune in next Tuesday at 8:30 Eastern Time. And we appreciate all the fans who have watched tonight, joined in the chat to let us know who they're rooting for. If you're still watching or you're watching the replay, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube to let us know you enjoyed what you saw. And we can't wait to see everyone 2 weeks from tonight for the Super Speedway Fall Classic. For Slingshot Racing League, I'm Ellis Thomas, joined by Chris Smith in the booth. So long from Atlanta Motor Speedway, everybody.